Strait of Hormuz, a narrow stretch of water between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula, has once again become the center of global attention. Rising tensions in West Asia, fueled by the escalating conflict between Israel, Iran, and the United States, have sharply disrupted shipping traffic through the strategic waterway. Despite being only about 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, the strait is one of the most important maritime routes on Earth. More than 20% of the world's oil and gas shipments pass through this corridor every day, connecting the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. Recent military strikes involving the United States, Israel, and Iran have dramatically altered the security environment in the region. Maritime intelligence reports suggest that shipping traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has fallen sharply, with some estimates suggesting reductions of up to 60 to 70%. Hundreds of ships are now waiting in nearby waters as companies weigh the risks of sending vessels through the narrow passage. Several incidents involving missiles, drones, and maritime threats have further heightened fears among shipping operators. Analysts describe the situation as an insurance-driven shutdown, and where economic risks are discouraging shipping even without a formal blockade. Iran has long viewed the Strait of Hormuz as a powerful strategic tool. By threatening to disrupt traffic through the waterway, Tehran can exert pressure on global energy markets and on countries involved in regional conflicts.
Reporting for Third Wall Street News and our TV News Business channel, Iran has threatened not a liter of oil to pass Strait of Hormuz, expect $200 per barrel price tag. Despite of the US and European military are weighing how to move ships through the Strait of Hormuz as oil prices surge. European involvement, France, along with other European Union allies, is developing a purely defensive mission to escort oil tankers. There are currently no active escorts as of March 10th to 11th, 2026. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, says it will not allow a liter of oil through the Strait of Hormuz as the closure of the key Gulf waterway continues to roil global energy markets during the US-Israeli war on Iran. Warning comes as 400 million barrels of oil are being released from global reserves during the waterway's closure. Iran has continued to send large amounts of crude oil via the Strait of Hormuz to China, even as the war between US, Israel, and Iran has jeopardized broader supplies through the critical waterway. Iran has sent at least 11.7 million barrels of crude oil through the Strait of Hormuz since the war began on February 28th, all of which were headed to China, stated Samir Madani, co-founder of TankerTrackers.com. Approximately 20 to 21 million barrels of crude oil and petroleum products per day pass through the Strait of Hormuz, accounting for about 1/5, 20 to 25%, of global oil consumption. As a critical maritime choke point, it is the only sea route for many Gulf state exports, with approximately 89% of these shipments destined for Asian markets. This is, according to IEA, International Energy Agency. Key details regarding oil transit through the Strait of Hormuz. Daily volume, approximately 20 to 21 million barrels of oil, crude, and products. Global impact, roughly 20 to 25% of total global seaborne oil trade. Key exporters: Iraq, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran, and Kuwait are primary exporters. Destination: about 89% of the oil is destined for Asian markets, primarily China, India, Japan, and South Korea. Recent disruptions. In March 2026, amid rising conflict, daily traffic was reported to be severely impacted, with some reports suggesting a significant drop in transit. This is according to IEA, International Energy Agency. The strait also handles a significant portion of global liquefied natural gas, LNG, with about 1/5 of global seaborne LNG passing through this route, largely from Qatar. This is according to Al Jazeera. Key volume statistics, 2024 to 2025, normal averages. Total oil flow, approximately 20.9 million barrels per day, BD, accounting for roughly 20 to 25% of global oil consumption. Crude and condensate, nearly 15 million barrels per day, about 34% of global seaborne crude trade. Refined products, approximately 5 million barrels per day, including gasoline and diesel. Liquefied natural gas, LNG, about 20% of global LNG trade, primarily from Qatar, transits the strait. This is, according to IEA, International Energy Agency. Current status, March 2026. Traffic reduction. Shipping traffic has plummeted by 90% due to the ongoing 2026 Strait of Hormuz crisis. Regional export disruptions. Countries like Iraq have seen production at major southern oil fields drop by 70%, from 4.3 million to 1.3 million barrels per day, because they cannot export via the strait. Recent flows. Despite the conflict, an estimated 12 million barrels of Iranian crude have reportedly passed through to China since the war began on February 28, 2026. This is, according to CNBC, Global Reliance and Destinations, Asia Focus. Roughly 84 to 89% of the crude and condensate moving through the strait is destined for Asian markets. Top importers: China, 37.7%, India, 14.7%, South Korea, 12.0%, and Japan, 10.9%, are the primary recipients. U.S. reliance: only about 7% of U.S. crude imports pass through the strait, representing 2% of total U.S. petroleum consumption. This is, according to Visual Capitalist. Alternative routes. There is limited capacity to bypass the strait using pipelines. Saudi Arabia. The East-West pipeline has a capacity of 5 to 7 million barrels per day, with an estimated 3 to 5 million barrels per day of spare capacity available during disruptions. UAE. The Habshan to Fujairah pipeline can transport 1.5 to 2 million barrels per day directly to the Gulf of Oman. Total bypass. Potential: only about 3.5 to 5.5 million barrels per day can realistically be redirected, leaving a significant portion of global supply at risk during a full closure. This is, according to IEA, International Energy Agency. This market research data is by Case Capital Markets and Third Wall Street News. For more business, markets and economy, latest and developing news, go to www.ourbusinesschannel.com. Powered by Callaloo Media House.
Third Wall Street is a new emerging global capital markets formation and structured trifactor financial hub at the U.S. third border in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, in the Caribbean and Latin America. The new Third Wall Street is the home of the Alexander Hamilton Financial Center and named in honor of Alexander Hamilton, an American founding father, first U.S. Treasury Secretary, and architect of the U.S. financial system and modern America. Third Wall Street is located in a U.S. National Heritage Area, Opportunity Zone, and the boyhood home of Alexander Hamilton in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Island, connecting 3 financial hubs in the Americas by way of new innovative financial technology and markets: New York Wall Street South, Brickell Avenue, Miami, and Third Wall Street in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, and established the new Caribbean America's Single Economy Zone, developed by SETI Case Capital Markets. Third Wall Street will transform financial markets, improving access to capital worldwide. Visit www.thirdwallstreet.com to learn more.